Hi, Joe Wheaton again here from Utah State University. Just want to provide you with a quick synthesis of Module 1. This is for our virtual workshop on the low-tech process-based restoration of riverscapes. We recognize that this will be where a number of you leave us, and so just want to kind of quickly run through what we've covered in this module. We've gone through sort of our background and purpose for even having a workshop on low-tech process-based restoration of riverscapes. And what I'm going to do is just sort of run you through that background, introduction, guiding principles, and where we concluded here with this partnering with Beaver and restoration ecology, and give you a little preview of what's coming in the additional modules. So Jeremy Maestas really set the stage with a shared vision of resilience of riverscapes and resilience of working lands, and indeed the workshop being supported by Working Lands for Wildlife. This is a real focus of theirs. I sort of talked about the doom and gloom of the massive scope of riverscape degradation, and that these are some of the most impacted ecosystems on the planet, desperately in need of some restoration, and the fact that standard practices are simply too expensive to scale. So we need something that is more scalable. Colin Thorne talked a bit about how in looking at riverscapes, there had been this missing reference condition, stage 0. So we didn't even know what it was we were shooting for a long time. And it turns out in that scaling problem, if we can have a clearer idea of what the target is, actually we can let processes do some of the work for us, which is much more scalable. Mark Beardsley brought in this wonderful analogy of soup in terms of thinking about that new target and really reimagining what riverscapes could be. Then we talked a little bit about the sort of gateway drug into process-based restoration, beaver dam analogs, and ran you through a little exercise that had we been meeting in person, we would drag you out to the parking lot and have you build some post-line wicker weaves, because this really simulates a lot of the common questions that come up, which are indeed logical, but a little bit lost in the weeds and missing the point of process-based restoration. Then we expanded on sort of a range of low-tech techniques, and Jeremy kind of reminded us that this is not a new practice. Steve Bennett talked about how we can invoke a process of wood accumulation with things like post-assisted log structures. Scott Chevardian talked to us about how we can use beaver dam analogs as a way of invoking the process of beaver dam activity. And then I tried to put a bow on some of this in terms of defining some guiding principles. We had 4 guiding principles for understanding what constitutes a healthy riverscape. And we had 6 principles that really influence how we tackle and approach restoration with low tech. Then we brought in Ben Goldfarb, and he shared with us a little bit on beaver history. Beaver were everywhere, they were pervasive, and our riverscapes were very, very different places prior to the fur trade. And so that helps sort of reinforce some of what Colin and Mark were talking about in terms of imagining what riverscapes could be. Nick Bowis then talked a little bit more about getting us on the same page with kind of a quick overview of beaver ecology and beaver dam activity, which for those of you in particular that are leaving, and this will be the only module you participate in, this could be summed up sort of a Caddyshack reference here. To work with a rodent, you need to think like one. Why are we focusing so much on beaver? Well, if you just want a simple take home, if you are trying to improve the health of riverscapes, not all riverscapes had or can support dam building activity by beaver, but a lot did. And the simple move is to get out of the way and facilitate and encourage that. That would be letting process-based restoration do much of the work for you. And to do that, you need to kind of understand a bit about beavers. And so that's why we covered that. And then finally, Jeremy gave us a little wrap up, basically making the point that I just tried to. Easiest form of process-based restoration, if you can allow it, is Beaver. So that concludes Module 1. Module 2 tomorrow is going to fill in on some of the underlying science and case studies that have given us confidence in these low-tech approaches. In the afternoon, we're going to get into the meat of planning low-tech process-based restoration projects. Then Thursday will be our longest, well, actually, sorry, Wednesday is the longest if you come to both Module 2 and 3, but Thursday is our longest module. And that we will be focusing on the design process, and then on Friday we'll focus on implementation. The field trips that we would normally have associated with Module 3 and Module 5, there's really no substitution for. Those are wonderful experiences, but we're going to do our best to try and point you towards resources that attempt to simulate those virtually here. So all of the resources from today and from those other workshops are all going to be available on the website in perpetuity. And so if you simply go to lowtechpbr.restoration.usu.edu, and you can drill into the workshop page and then the specific module resource pages, and everything, videos, slides, etc. Will be up there. So really remember those principles that we talked about that just help us better articulate what healthy riverscapes look like, and remember what we can do to let these systems get to healthy, and that will get you a large part of the way there. Finally, there's a lot of amazing people that are behind all of these efforts that come from a lot of different institutions. This is by no means a complete list and or a comprehensive list, but just the clutter of this is really meant to thank all of you. You know, with over 1,000 people signing up for this and a lot more interest beyond that, there's already a lot of amazing people out there that are already behind this. And, you know, the rest of you that are showing interest in it, you could be part of that too. And we find that really exciting for the next generation and for stewardship of these riverscapes. So thank you very much.